dead, but I'm not gonna worry about it yet. I'm gonna leave it there until I'm gonna leave it there another month or so. But like, if you really do anything, then I'm gonna even repurpose that pot.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other one's good.
Okay. Well, I'm look happy. The cooler weather's been a benefit for that.
It
All my
has
other
been.
plants are like, what?
Yeah.
You put me out too soon. Yeah. Most in business here. Here we go. All right, guys.
So we're on now? Yes.
We are on. So
Hello.
4:35. I'm going to go ahead and call us to order. And I told Sagar we'll do a couple of business things, and we're going to let him present, and we'll kind of introduce ourselves and what we do also. So just quickly, for order of business, I did email out the minutes to you all, so I don't know if there are any questions or if we can make a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Second. All in favor? Yep. Beautiful. All right. And same thing for budget. We'll do a review next month. We have a lot in process right now, so not much has changed, but we'll have a very different budget after this event. So we'll do our review, and we'll stay in line with that 3-month reporting for that. And then, okay. And then we do have a visitor today who's going to do a presentation for us. We have Dr. Sagar Shetty, who is from the University of Monticello Forestry Business School. Did I say that correctly?
Arkansas Center for Forest Business, College of Forestry.
College of Forestry. There we go. So we do have experts in the house today. So we're glad to have you. And we're going to let you take it away in a second. But you did ask a question about what is Conway Tree Board? What do we do? And so in 2006, they were formed. The tree board, and our basic responsibilities are to help oversee the maintenance, protection, and guidance for the tree canopy here in Conway. So we work with our city partners and some of our utilities. You'll see on our board, we have a representation of some of the departments that do work with the trees in Conway. So we have Skylar, who is with Parks and Rec, and they are gracious to let us plant trees and kind of work with their staff quite a bit, very supportive. We do have Chris Paxton. He is our new Director of City Planning, so from the city office. We have Logan, who is with Conway Corp., who is our major utility company here in Conway, too. We have Krista Quinn, and she's introduced herself. She is our forest or our Faulkner County Extension agent, and she is our professional arborist on the board who helps. She partners with the city and leads and guides us. And above and beyond the public trees, she also gives residential tips and training and workshops and all kinds of things to help private property owners as well as public trees as well. We have members at large, so we are not the tree experts, but we are eager learners and huge supporters of all things that. So we have Josh Draper, he's my vice chair. We have
small business owner too.
Small business owner, yep. Shani Jackson is one of our members at large. Shani and Skylar help with all of our marketing too. We have Amy White. She is independent living services, and she helps, do all things ordering, helping us get ready for events. They're all new this year. And who I met, Scott Meek, I believe you know him. He's also an expert with trees and forestry as well. And then I'm, of course, Tracy Buchanan. I'm the chair and just passionate and eager to lead the group. So that's kind of who we are. We've been a Tree City USA. This is our 17th year. We got our second growth award this last year, so we're pretty pleased about the efforts and the direction that we've been headed for that. And so the information that you guys have provided us is going to be super helpful in learning some of the next steps and direction we want to go. So, yeah. So with that, I'll let you take it away. I want to give you plenty of time.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Tracy. So first I'll introduce myself. So I am Sagar Godar Chetri. It's a little bit hard to pronounce for you. So originally I'm from Nepal. So it's a long way from here. Yeah. I did my undergrad in Nepal in forestry. And then I worked for 5 years in different non-profit organizations. So back in Nepal, about forest certification, climate change, and the RED means reducing emission from forest deforestation and the degradation RED. And then I work for the other alternative energy promotion camp. So it's basically like using the improved cooking stove in Nepal, So after that, I wanted to do the masters from the and get some international exposure, right? And then I applied to Mississippi State University and got a chance to get my master's in forestry degree. And then I worked with Dr. Mon, at Ian Mon at Mississippi. And then I joined University of Georgia at Athens for my PhD, PhD in forest economics and the policy. So my research focused on the effectiveness of tax incentive program in conserving the forest land of Georgia. So, and then I moved to University of Arkansas at Monticello for my postdoc, and I worked with Dr. Matthew Pelkey. So he is a professor and director of Arkansas Center for Forest Business, College of Forestry at University of Arkansas at Monticello. And then I recently hired as a assistant professor of forest economics at UAM. So I will be teaching forest finance for the masters in forest business student and the some graduate student and the certificate level student. So today is my honor to be here. So it is my very first time at Conway, and also these are Conway tree board meeting. So so I try to speak clearly because of my accent. So yeah, I hope you guys consider me. And then and we did the research based on using some GIS and the i3 canopy tools. She already know about that. And then and we are doing some statistical analysis and then today I'm going to share about the preliminary findings of our study. So and Dr. Matthew Pelkey, he's supposed to come here, but at last he have a other commitment, the meeting. So he's not here today. So hopefully, we can have him the later, maybe this weekend, right? So we have the other program. So maybe at that time. So I will start my presentation. So if you have any questions, just stop me at any time. So I can answer based on my, the knowledge. If I do not know, then I will take your questions and then you reply back, maybe in the email or any medium, right? So let's get started. So today, I'm going to talk about these. What are the different benefit of urban trees, right? So in Arkansas, before we started that, Arkansas is a natural state. So it means that we have a lots of forest land. And that forest land provide a different kind of goods and services. Like goods means the product. Timber and other, from timber, we have different furniture, right? And also that forest provides some other services that we cannot value, right? We cannot see their advantage or the benefit. Like for example, they provide different biodiversity services, and also they conserve water resource and they purify air, right? So we are as a forestry institution and as a forester and as a the forestry has different value, but there is sometimes the people, they do not value the urban forestry because the urban forestry have the equally the important role in conserving our ecosystem and also the providing the good environment or the ambience to live us, right? So in the United States, there are 68 million acres of urban areas. So, and which is about 28% of the tree cover in the United States, which is really high. So if we compare the United States with the other country like the Europe, they have 30%. The Canada also have 38, and Australia also have some 30s, right? So the America and the other Europe have the similar tree cover percentage, and those three have provided services to us, to the humankind, and also for the animal and the plant, right? And they have two different type of services. Like one is direct services, like direct, and another one is the indirect. So direct means like, based on the tree physiology, they give some benefit for us. So one is like, the carbon dioxide. So they store the carbon dioxide, atmospheric carbon dioxide, through their physiological process, like for example, photosynthesis. So photosynthesis, during photosynthesis, they take carbon dioxide from the water and then they release the oxygen. So which is very important for us, right? And then the other benefit is that they have a benefit on removal of different air pollutant stuff that present in the atmosphere, like other, like the different silicon, the different particle material in the air, like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, and the other different type of particles. So, and then other is like indirect benefit. Like when I saw this, there is like, the energy conservation, right? So this is how urban tree provides that, for example, like, the house under the shade of the tree are in the hotter climate is having the, the cooler inside the heart in the house, right? And also in the cold climate, in the cold days, the house under the tree is feeling some warmer, right? So because of that, we are saving some electricity bill. So if we save the electricity, then obviously it saves the fuels, like fossil fuels, right? So that is the indirect benefit of the urban trees. So, and because of that, the urban tree is also one of the, the one of the main uh, strategy to mitigate the impact of the climate change. Because nowadays we are facing the problem of climate change, like, for example, we are having rising the temperature each year. We are rising the average temperature, and we have the erratic precipitation, right? So to some extent, this urban tree have some benefit, or have, provide some, the mitigation strategy to cope with the impact of climate change, right? So for that, and also we can see that in Arkansas, the population growth rate is increasing. So about like 1 point something percent is the population growth rate in Arkansas. And because of that, we are also the increasing the urban land, like, the road area, building, that, right? So it means that if we increase those areas, so it means that we are declining the forest cover in the Arkansas, in the cities. So there are different, like for example, like tree board and other different, the activities and other different the program. They are here to conserve the urban trees, right? So we are here to see what are the different factors that affect the benefit of the urban trees. So we are like, our objective was to, first to quantify the monetary value of that benefit. Like we discussed about, like, there are different benefit, right? So this study is supposed to calculate that benefit in a monetary term, right? For example, like people, they do not know about the benefit, and if we assign the value of that, okay, this benefit has this much amount of money, then they really think about, okay, this must have like this $1,000, right? So it means that it have more value. And then the other objective was to, what are the different factors that influence to estimate the benefit of urban trees. So this is our study area, Arkansas. So there are like, and we choose the cities that has been enrolled into the Tree City program, right? Because we wanted to see the benefit. So what are the benefit of enrolling that cities into the Tree City program? So we choose the 42 Tree City USA in the Arkansas, and we did stratified to that cities based on our population density, like low, medium, and the high. So the low, we consider a less than 200 individual per kilometer square. So we are doing a research in the kilometer square, not the square miles like here.
Yeah, well,
Because of the journal, like we are submitting this paper in a different journal, so they are asking to convert our scale into the this metric system, right? So there are 42 cities out of that. So like Little Rock as obviously has the higher population, which is about like more than 100,000, and the other cities are less than like 50,000 population. Right, and then most of the cities like is in the western and the southern part of the Arkansas. Right, once we get the study area, then we use like GIS. So it's somehow like technical. So I do not want it to get more into that. I just wanted to show. So this is a GIS map. We use the boundary, and this GIS map we overlay into the i3 canopy tools, right? And then we will generate the random points. So basically, this i3 canopy tools has been developed by the USDA Forest Service. So it is not the it doesn't give the actual but it gives some idea like estimated areas for that, and based on that, so they they suggested us to get at least we need to have 1,000 random point to get some the precise or the accuracy estimate of this benefit. Like, so this is the tools, and there is some the statistical tools. Maybe you you don't need these things, so we did some the statistical tools based on some regression model and the other ANOVA test. So here what we found that, so in the Arkansas, like like the tree cover percentage, like they are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are like basically like the measure 5 land cover in the Arkansas, or maybe derived by the i3 tools, and most of them were like the tree cover, right? So it means that around around like more than 30% of this area is covered by trees, and it depends upon the size of the city. Right, so here we can see that low, medium, and high means the density. So in the low density cities, like tree cover is high, so which makes sense, right? So, and the second is come with the soil percentage, and third is the grass, and the last one is the water. Like in the city area there is a little bit less water, and so this is the tree cover percentage and the other land use cover in the Arkansas. And then what we got here, that like there are two different items, total carbon, and another is the carbon per hectare, means that per unit area. So here, if we see that the total carbon storage rate is high in high density cities, and whereas like the total carbon is low in low density cities, right? And if we see the flip side, the carbon sequestration per unit area is higher in the low density cities, so which makes sense, right? So in the low density city, like there is like tree cover percentage is higher. And then we are here like showing that what are the factors that affecting that. So these five land cover is negatively correlated. It means that if we have a higher percentage of the soil, land, or the impervious, other thing like impervious means the parking lot and the other the other areas, this road and impervious building, we know there, and the grass. So these 5 factors are the negatively correlated. If you have the larger land, then and then total carbon sequestration of that city will be low. But if we have the more tree cover, then we have a higher carbon percentage in that cities. And this is some result from that regression. So we can see that like longitude, city area, tree cover, per capita income, these are the significant. So it means that these factors are affecting in storing the carbon in the cities area. So longitudinal negative means if we go from east to west, the amount of carbon in the city is getting larger, which means that we are having high volume of carbon in that city area. And then the other city area means like if we have the bigger city and we'll have like more carbon because the tree cover percentage is correlated with that city area. And the other is the tree cover. It's the obvious, right? Tree cover. If we have the tree and like the tree, like for example, the tree has like 50% of the carbon. Like if we see the tree with like for example, if one tree is like around like 1 ton of tree, then there is like 0.5 ton of carbon in that tree. So this is like thumb rule. And the per capita income is the negatively. If the cities like the population has the higher income, it means that they have the lower carbon sequestration. It means that if there is like a higher income, it means that there is like other developed areas and have the low tree cover percentage, right? And we use the other variable like the population density, tree city USA, travel time within a city like latitude, and these variable were not significant. These show some kind of association, but these are not statistically significant. That's why we did not put that in this list. And so I already talked about the carbon, right? So now I'm going to talk about more than carbon. So there are like so these are the basically other important services or the other important things that the urban trees have provided us, like carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, ozone, sulfur dioxide, particular matter. So it means that the matter in the air like 2.5 and the 10. So these are the basically major component that we have in that tools, I3 tools. So here we can see that. So this is the high density city, this is the medium and the low. So the tree like this ton per year, right? So that is higher in the high density cities area. And if we see here per hectare here, right? Per hectare or the per unit area is higher in the low density cities. So similar to the carbon and this other the air pollutant removal also have the similar correlation with the carbon. So here like so now we are assigning some monetary value, like what is the monetary value of that carbon, right? So here we can see that in the low density class cities have like total like $535 per hectare value hectare that have been provided by the urban trees. So this rate is based on the USDA Forest Service, that the I3 canopy, what I mentioned earlier, they have their own rate. So the rate might be fluctuate based on the different company, right? So it has the like huge variation for the dollar value. And if we see in the high density class, it has like only like $330 per hectare value. So here like the hectare is like 1.86 football field, like it means like somehow double than the football field. So I just put that so it gives some idea like what is the area of that, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so this is the study about the Conway. So we have like distributed these hands out to you. So we did some like quick analysis about the Conway. So based on that tools in the Conway also like we have like more than 30% of the area has been covered by the tree. And the second one is soil, and third is like the herb or the grass area. And we generated that random points to get the benefit to see the benefit of urban trees in the Conway. So the area is Conway is like 46.9 square miles. So it is based on the GIS map. So we may have some like a little bit different in area based on the different shores. So we are using the GIS map. So it shows like 46.9 square miles. And so here is a real real but estimated benefit of the urban trees in the Conway. So here we can see that 364,000 ton of carbon is stored in the trees of Conway area. So which is equivalent to like 62 millions, which is like so high value, right? So it's like 62. And also if we see the annual benefit, it means that it removes carbon monoxide like 6 ton each year. So which is that is around like it value of like $8,000 of the value. And similarly, they remove the other like other different pollutant like ozones, and the other air pollutant means like what I mentioned before, sulfur oxide, nitrogen oxide. Those means which have more the dollar value is like 1 million for that, like 2 million, like and also the carbon sequester. So that every year in the Conway, the trees in the Conway it store about like 14,000 ton of carbon. So if we compare the 14 tons of carbon, it's around like 10,000 automobiles. So here we assume that the one automobiles they emit the carbon dioxide like 5.1 ton per year, right? So based on that, we found that in the trees in the Conway, they remove the carbon dioxide of like 10,526 vehicles, right? So it's really like the high benefit. And also the reduce runoff. Runoff means like if there is a precipitation and the water will flow, right? So if we have a tree, then that tree, the water just intercept that, the tree intercept the water, right? And then it will go inside the land or inside the soil. It means that it will conserve the water and let them to drain inside the soil, right? So it will recharge our the groundwater table. And so if we just compare the value with the the average use a person is like the study shows that we use like 82 gallon per day, which is like really high, and it is like around like the water that that consumed by 1,000 people will save. Sorry.
Question, what is the time frame in the total number of you have in total urban trees in Conway have stored 364,000 equivalent to? Is that over a lifetime?
Yes. So it's from the plantation to until now, like the total. From plantation to until now, like in the total carbon sequestration. And this is the per year.
Per
year. So this is the per year, and that is the total.
Okay.
Total. So in the
per year.
Yeah.
Total per year.
No, not per year.
This is per year.
This is per
This
year.
is cumulative for how long?
Yeah, this is cumulative for like today's age.
Okay.
Like for example, like if we have like 20 years tree, that is like 20 years, not like every year.
Okay.
It's like every year.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's almost $5 million in services per year that our trees are providing.
Yeah.
That's very significant.
Yeah, it's very, very high. But like as I mentioned that, so this value is based on the USDA, but the price might vary based on the different company. Like nowadays, like private forest landowner, they are selling their carbon to the private market or in the voluntary market, and they have relatively like less price, maybe like the 5 ton per acres. But here the USDA is really so that the higher value, right? So this is the like summary of these urban tree benefit. So if you guys have any questions, I am happy to answer your queries. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question. I think, did you say that in your study you found that low or high income areas actually have lower canopy cover? Is that what you found?
Yes.
Yeah, which isn't that opposite of what a lot of national figures say, where they say that low income neighborhoods often have also have lower tree canopy, but in Arkansas it's different, right?
Yes.
Which is we've observed that, and so it's interesting because when you hear the national statistics, they always say that it's like an inverse, the low income neighborhoods have lower canopy cover, and so then wouldn't be receiving all these great benefits. But in Arkansas, it's different.
Yeah, that's a good one, right? So we also assume that similar thing, so if we have the higher income cities, then we'll have the more carbon. So it means that the people who have the high income, so they can invest some money for the plantation and for the other thing, right? So, but what we found here that in the low income cities, so it means that there is not much employment opportunity. So it means that we do not have much. So in the low income cities, we do not have much the urban land. Right, urban land in the low income,
infrastructure, buildings,
building industries, other the parking lot or anything. Yeah,
right.
So it have the lower tree cover percentage in that area.
Right.
So, and I think that makes sense in Arkansas, right? So in the rural areas where we have the low population density, that the tree cover percentage is really high. Arkansas, wherever we go, we see a lot of tree in the city area, even in the Little Rock, right? So it's the urban tree have huge, the amount of trees, and it sequester more carbon. So yeah, it's a unique city, the natural state and the unique, and gives more benefit for us. Yeah. Yes.
You talked about trees preventing flooding with runoff, and flooding is a huge problem in Conway. Did you factor that into your estimates on how much trees save, like preventing flooding damage to businesses or homes or whatever?
Oh, actually, we did not see exactly that one, how much tree that helps to reduce the flooding. So we only see that how that tree help in reducing the flooded water,
Right.
So based on that, we did some analysis, but for the specific one, we did not have any clue how much tree that that absorb that flooded water.
Right.
Yeah. So that might be the interesting topic for the other, because we didn't these tools do not provide that information. But what we can do that if we use the climatic data and the tree cover percentage, and if we see the trend, for example, if we can see last 10 years or the last 20 years, then we can obviously see how the tree actually support or to reduce the flood or to prevent the flood from that trees. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Is there any way, is it even feasible to use the tree cover and compare it to health benefits in this state compared to other states?
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, so there are lots of research they have correlated with the tree health, tree percentage, tree cover percentage, and the human health. And what I know that there is statistically significant. So it means that the people's living nearby the tree area are more the healthy, because it reduces here it's a benefit, right? So it reduces the stress, mental stress, right? And obviously, and if we go in the if you walk inside the tree for at least 20 minutes for every day, then our stress level is significantly lower, right? So it's obviously gives the more human health benefit. But we did not see in our research, but there is many paper, scientific paper, that shows the benefit of trees to the human health. Yeah.
So for a person who may not understand, going back to the graphic where it talks about, both removal and sequestering carbon. So if I'm a person who doesn't really know much about carbon, why do I care? Why do I care how much is being removed from our city each year?
Okay. So it means what we can say that, so if we have a tree in our city, right? So we did not know before this, we did not know how much this tree have been providing some values or the services, right? So if we have this value, then we can see that, okay, our Conway urban tree is giving a certain amount of value to the peoples in the cities. So it means that the government or the policymaker can give more, like, more preference or maybe more support to that local bodies, right? So those to encourage the different plantation activities or to engage the people to conserve the urban trees, right? So it will sometimes it will give some idea for the policymaker as well, right? So they can have different type of activities that can be carried out in that area. So if we have this value, then it obviously, like, give some idea. Oh yeah, this have some like huge value. Like, why we do not have different activities? Okay, let's do that. Like, so yeah.
I'm going to get a little more basic. Why don't we want carbon? Why is carbon bad?
So okay, so
It's
I know.
carbon dioxide,
But
yeah.
it's a general question that I
like,
want.
what I mentioned, like the climate nowadays, we are suffering from the climate change. Like the every day, like the average temperature is being increasing, and then the rainfall is not the in uniformity. It means that the precipitation is erratic in nature, right? So the primary cause of climate change is due to the greenhouse gas. So there is different type of gas, right? So among them, the carbon dioxide is the most significant, affecting gas for the climate change. So we need to reduce the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, right? So around, like, I forgot the exact percentage. There is around like 78 or something percentage of the atmospheric gas is carbon dioxide, right? So if we increase that carbon dioxide, then we feel more hotter, like, the temperature will be increased. And if we decrease our carbon dioxide from the air, and then it will, like, it will also, like, maintain the temperature of the atmosphere. So we need to reduce that carbon dioxide from the air.
Well, and it's not even just carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
There's other greenhouse gases that are more potent, actually,
Mhm.
like nitrogen dioxide and stuff that the trees also pull out of the air, which helps us all.
Yeah,
Methane,
like
yeah,
methane
all that
also,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the major portion is from the carbon dioxide.
Yeah,
Is
that's the big
highest
one.
portion. So that's why we are more focusing on the carbon dioxide, right? Carbon dioxide or the carbon monoxide. And then also, like, and the trees are, like, relatively, like, the cheaper way to reduce the carbon dioxide,
Some-
Yeah.
right?
Something else about carbon is it gets into our drinking water, and that costs a lot of money for water utilities to
Mhm.
treat,
Mhm.
and forest and trees retain that carbon, and it prevents it from getting into the drinking.
Mhm.
water
And
source.
reduces our water
And
treatment
reduces-
costs,
Yes.
because that's the
Yeah,
most
absolutely.
expensive thing to remove from
Absolutely.
drinking water.
And then, like, for example, like, so here, like, here is carbon, right? So 14,520. So this is the carbon. So there is one, like, in the formula, like, if we multiply by 3.67, it will give the amount of carbon dioxide. So for example, if we multiply this by 3.67, it will give the estimation of the total carbon dioxide.
That would have been released had it not gone into
Yeah,
the trees.
exactly.
So it's 3.67.
Yeah, 3.67, yeah. Yes.
Do you find that bringing up costs is more like that? Do policy, like people in policy and just big businesses, that's more attractive? Do you find that that's working? Like people are like, oh, money talks.
Mhm.
So it's saving money. Do you find that that's effective? Like when you were talking about how, like in Georgia, that was something you worked on. Like, do you think that's working?
Does it change people's
Is
way
it
of
changing people's mind?
dealing with trees?
I say more attractive, kind of it gets their attention a little bit more because it's a business and you want to make money, you want to save money.
Mhm.
Do you find that that's working?
So yeah, that's a good one. Nowadays, like, like the carbon market has been emerging, like, so everyone is talking about the carbon market, right? So like, so until now, what we see that, like, the people are having more aware about the carbon market or the benefit of the trees, right? But we do not have that type of policy that the urban trees can get the participate into the carbon market and getting this like money, monetary benefit, exactly, right? So, but for the private forest landowner in the US, like, they are having some aware or the knowledge about the carbon market, and they are participating in the carbon market, and they are now start earning money from the carbon. And there are like few, there are few company like who give the carbon credit for the landowner, like, the Blue Shores, NCX, like National Carbon Exchange. They are like around like 6 to 10 different companies who can, like, buy the carbon from the landowner. But as you said, in the urban forestry, I do not see any type of, like, like there is any kind of buyers and the sellers for this carbon. Yeah. And then, like, if you have that opportunity, then it's really like benefit for the peoples living in the cities, right?
I guess that's more of like a policy side question.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Mhm.
Can't speak for Chris, but I would think that for city planners and for city council, mayor, that sort of thing, when they're planning for the future, when they see numbers like this, there is a definite benefit to the community as a whole.
Yeah.
So I would think that those numbers would be a lot more important. For planning.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that's why I was thinking bringing up like how much flood damage would be prevented by trees, especially in downtown Conway, would be a good idea to find. If we can find it out. I don't know if that's possible, but yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's the cool one.
That's a big thing for Conway specifically. Yeah.
Oh. So, and then, like, so this like 62 million is like really like high value, but in the real market, so this value might not be true for the real. If you are really wanted to sell the carbon from these cities, then we might not getting this value, but we can say that this city's tree has the potential of getting this value based on USDA, right? So yeah, so it's like, the good opportunity for us to save the carbon. The other thing is that, so if to get the carbon market, we need to do different activities in the tree cities. Like, for example, if we have like 100 number of trees in our city, then we need to add more trees in the city's area to get the benefit of the carbon setting. It means that, for example, so like in 2023, if we have like 100 trees, or maybe let's say like 10,000 ton, to get the carbon benefit, we need to increase that carbon storage. So it means that we need to add like maybe like 10,000 plus maybe 200, and we will get the credit of that only for the 200. We are not getting the value for the 10,000 if you are like really wanted to sell that carbon in the market. So this is what, like, or like the carbon market just has been emerging. So they are just wanted to do like the best for their side. So they have been changing different methodology, and so we need to add more carbon every year, and then we need to ensure that we can save this much of carbon for like certain period of time. Like maybe we can save this tree for maybe 10 years or maybe 20 years. We need to have that, the permanency to get the carbon credit.
Interesting thought. Selling carbon
Also
credits could
think
add to the
for-
budget.
Also think for the average citizen, when they see these kind of numbers, people want to know what they can do to make a positive impact on the community and on the world in general, and plant a tree.
Pretty simple, yeah.
Yeah.
Or take care of a tree.
Or take care of the trees that you have.
Yeah.
You're actually making.
You're doing a big thing, right? Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and then, like, so like Arkansas Department of Forestry and the other organization, I don't know about the other thing, but the Arkansas Department of Forestry, they have been providing like free shielding like every year in Arbor Day. Like they are celebrating Arbor Day and providing free shielding for the community, like to have more tree cover in the urban areas. Also last week, also like our UAM also provided free shielding with the help of the Arkansas Department of Forestry. So that is the other way, like, because like for the planting a tree, like we do not need much amount of money, right? We do not need like many money, like we only need a few, like if you plant like 2 trees in our home and they have some value, like at least they have value. Like for example, in the Conway, I don't know about the population, or like 64,000 population. So for example, like if all the individual plant like 2 trees, like 64 into 2, like we have like that much of trees and that much of carbon in our city area, and it will provide other benefit, right, and the services, right? It's not a big deal, right? So yeah.
We did a treaty giveaway back in March, and as the board, as not part of the Arkansas Forestry Commission, and I think that went really well. And the trees I got are doing pretty well.
We gave away 700 trees on the day of the giveaway, and then gave away another about 500 afterward.
Okay.
So we're trying.
That's nice. Yeah.
And so, are you going to be at the tree climbing competition this
Yes,
weekend?
Yeah, this weekend, yeah.
And will we have some of these
Yeah, sure.
to give out or show?
I would love to be there, like because I did not go on that type of the event, so that will be my very first. And I don't know, like how will be that, but I'm interested to get.
Well, it's definitely, I think, going to be a group of people who appreciate trees, and so they'll find this like economic and environmental benefit information really interesting, I think.
And they go to different areas every time, so this will be a unique look at our particular area through their eyes.
Yeah. That's nice.
And it's Toad Stuff Weekend here too, so we're gonna have lots of visitors in our area. So you
And there will be lots
hoping.
of traffic, so you might want to
Yeah.
avoid this area where you are right now.
I would love to have the other, like the people, like to at least at least they have some ideas about the trees and the benefit of the trees, so that is very the important to preserve our environment, right? To preserve our environment and to transfer our environment for the next generation. Like if you have more problem with the climate change and other thing, maybe our next generation will face more difficulties, right? So we need to preserve our environment.
So I have one last question, or questions. A couple of questions. So this is available through the Arkansas Center for Forest Business, but can we put this on Conway City website, or is there a place that we can put this where?
Yeah, are we allowed to
where-
share this?
Yeah, I think
We're looking at 2 different people.
Yeah.
Right.
First permission from you all,
Right.
and then,
And then,
Yeah,
is that something that we can?
we can share them.
Yeah, as I know, I don't think there is any difficulties to share this, because there is the Arkansas Center for Forest Business, who is the responsible. I don't think that so it will be the problem
It's
for us.
credited.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is that I will ask with Dr. Pelkey about
Okay.
these things, because these things I don't know about the regulation, how the university. But as my understanding, there won't be a problem, because we are here to create the aware among the people, right? So if you put this in your website, that would obviously benefit for the community, right?
Right.
So I don't think that there will be the problem, but I will ask to Dr. Pelkey, and then I will email you back like this.
Sure.
I have your email, right? So yeah.
Actually, we should take a picture of him with the board and put it on our.
I was gonna ask if that was okay.
I would
Yeah,
like
if you cared.
To thank you for
Yeah,
coming
we can
today.
take a group picture
Sharing.
as well. Yeah.
Really quick, I think that you said in the beginning you only do this study for tree cities.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to be a tree city. So if somebody watched this today and they were like, I want to know what's going on with my city, they would have to be tree city in order to conduct this study.
No.
No? Okay.
We in order to conduct
So
this
they
study, there is no need to have enroll in the tree city program. What we assume that before doing this research, that so what would be the benefit of enrolling cities into the tree city program, right? So this is our very first step, and then our next plan is that so this is only the result from the 42 tree city USA counties,
Okay.
and then we are going to do the similar analysis for the other cities. and then we can compare. Is there any difference between the Tree City USA and the other Tree City other cities? So is there any benefit of that program in having these environmental values, right? So that is our the next step.
Okay.
So we are going to do that very soon.
Plus it'll show,
That's really good.
as a whole
Mhm.
how Arkansas
Arkansas
is
doing, yeah.
is
Yeah.
doing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay.
That's gonna be awesome.
We should get a picture.
I know he stood up, but I was like, wait. There's more.
Okay, do we want to do it now?
Grab one of those with a seal or with your new logo or whatever it is.
I'm gonna have that much logo.
Then I can just sit up here if y'all want to go.
You want all of us over there?
Okay.
With that in the background.
Sure.
Why not? I guess.
This one,
You pick the slide, whatever you want to have.
maybe this one.
That's a good one. That's good.
Okay.
Rogues. A little taller.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm walking you.
Where are you sitting?
Yeah.
Do you have us all?
Is it cheese?
Tree.
A tree.
That took several.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's really good opportunity for me. I am the recent hire. I am learning I am exploring different Arkansas and even my research and I love to do these things the interacting with the people. I'm learning and I'm learning my English as well so what happened so I'm not the native English speaker, so I'm from Nepal I said. So what so first of all I think everything in Nepali language.
Mhm.
Then my brain did some the analysis and they translate in the English. That's what I feel sometimes sometimes it's very hard to find a appropriate word what. So I know in Nepali, but what would be the English word for that?
Yeah.
You did very well.
I'd love to know more about the reforesting effort in Nepal that you did later, not right now.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk to you
Really
this
cool
weekend.
about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have linked it.
We do. Yeah.
Do you provide, this is a fantastic look at where we, like a snapshot in time. Do you ever look at the data that you collect and say, and make recommendations to the cities that you provide these for? Or if you see a number that looks like it can have better activity in this area, do you make recommendations or would you, upon request?
So we haven't made any recommendation but but if the city then really need our data, then we can say that okay, this city is doing better, right? For example, so this study is based on 2022,
Mhm.
right? So we are not until now we are not looking which city is doing good, right? So in order to do that, we need to have the yearly analysis, for example 2023, 2024, and then we can see the trend okay, this city is giving more benefit or this city is having more activities and have these increasing the value of these. So we need to do that type of analysis, then only we can say or only we can recommend that okay, these cities having giving more benefit or giving doing some good in order to have these urban tree benefit. But there is other indicator the Tree City USA themselves provide the prize for I don't know, do you remember the cities, but every year they award one of the cities as a the best Tree City USA or something like that, maybe Fayetteville or something like that. I do not remember, but the Tree City USA award one of those cities every year.
Would it be kind of along those lines, would it be possible to take this data and estimate if we were to increase our tree canopy cover by 1% or 2%?
Like a forecast.
How much would that change our annual benefits? Is that possible to do that, to estimate?
Yes. So that's really nice. That's a more technical, right?
Yeah.
So this is based on the GIS map. So this for example, the GIS map might be like the old one. Like for example, like we are getting this data from like 2022, right? For example, recently the tree can be caught here, right? But we do not have that information, right? And if we have this data, and if we conduct the field measurement, like for example, if we measure a tree directly with our hand, like the diameter and the height, maybe using some sample, and it will give some ideas like what is the comparable idea, like what is the total carbon storage in the cities, measuring with the hand or using these tools, right? And what you said there, if we do that, then we can say that okay, so these have the more benefit for that trees, and then we can do that. But it's relatively need more like time and the budget as well,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So but that will give the more accurate estimation as compared to this one,
Sure.
obviously, right?
Yeah.
So
Might not be a bad idea if the city was interested in paying for a study to see what happens.
Yeah.
Since you need more budget, I don't know if the city would do that, but it's not a bad idea.
we can do
Yeah.
that, like in some university, like like I was from the University of Georgia. So the University of Georgia, they did a field measurement, not in the cities, but they measure the trees within a campus premises, and they got the real data, right? And they have I forgot the like values of the University of Georgia, but they really have the like a kind of like real the estimation.
Yeah, very close. Yeah.
Nice.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your work.
Thank you very much.
And your time.
Absolutely.
I actually have
Thank
one
you.
question.
Yes.
Are certain trees more valuable than others whenever it comes to size? You hear about hub trees, mother trees, different stuff like that. But are there any considerations from the city side on tree sizes? For example, I've heard significant trees of 8-inch at 4.5 feet breast height, and I've heard a lot of different discussions about that. But are there any, rather than just the conversation about a tree canopy as a whole, are there significant trees within a cluster of trees that would have a greater impact on saving for the local environment?
Yeah, that's nice. Like so like here in our study, we do not have like the tree size things, and also we did not have the tree species, like the species of the pine and the other hardwood might have the different carbon storage rate, right? And we did not have this because like we are taking the GPS data, right? So we did not have that information, and obviously the species, the carbon storage rate is varies on the species type and also their volume. Like what we can say that if the tree size is bigger, if the volume is bigger, then obviously it stores more carbon. So that is like our thumb rule, right? So and the carbon is like 50% of that volume. So that is our thumb rule. And so if we can see the volume, okay, if that is the bigger, then it obviously have the more carbon in it.
Well, and I do know, so the iTree tools that he used, there are different tools. And there is one that focuses on species. And so it kind of rates the species depending on, but it's, the thing, one tree might be really great at managing stormwater. Another tree is really great at removing air pollution. So it's kind of like, what benefit are you looking at when you're comparing the different species?
I think it depends on their growth rate also, as they slow.
Yeah, I've seen ordinance for others for other cities, especially in Northwest Arkansas. They try to base that specifically, all based off of the X amount off breast height, and then based off of that the diameter or circumference of that tree. The problem with that is not all trees are the same. So when you're treating all trees as having an 8-inch breast height, then you're removing a lot of a specific type of species and less of other types of species.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and then like there are like as you said, like there are different type of formulas. Like for example, like the carbon, like the pine having like the 10 diameter and like 20 feet tall, and the other tree like the hardwood, it's the same, like the 10 inch diameter and the 20 feet tall. They might have the different carbon storage. As he mentioned that, so it depends upon the species and it depends upon the growth rate. If they have the higher growth rate, and they might have more the carbon storage rate in it. But that depends upon the species.
Yes.
Right.
And
And diversity is a benefit.
Yes, I would say that diversity and
Diversity is our
They're different.
insurance plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and there are multiple benefits to different types of trees. I mean, we don't want to think about just carbon
Yeah.
I hear a lot.
sequestration. I mean, we're looking at what aesthetics, you're looking at wildlife benefits, I mean, just all sorts of different.
Yeah, well,
Response to climate change,
Water,
pest
Right.
resistance.
Yeah, recreational benefit also, so if we are walking on a side trail,
Shade.
if there is
Shade.
the shade, then that's we feel really nice.
Mhm.
If there is no tree, then it might be the hot, all right? So it's difficult to walk. So yeah, we are not expecting this much of value with the tree. Like if we remove the tree, then we only realize the value of tree, because we are taking granted, in many cases,
In some cases, there's cities that have tree mitigation strategies. Typically, that's at a 5-to-1 ratio because you plant 5 trees. There's typically a 20% chance that that tree would grow to a successful rate for it to continue to have the same impact as the original tree that was gone. Is that something? Are tree mitigation strategies something that your department looks at all?
Actually, I'm not aware of that strategy, but but what we found that, so if we plant the tree this year, then our the survival rate is around 80 to 90%. So it means that if we plant the 100 trees this year, so it will survive 80 years in the next year. So we have this type of estimation, but we did not do that. What is the exact the percentage of that survival. But in the forest area, not in the tree, not in the urban, in the forest area, we usually plant 435 or 400 to 500 trees in an acre, in per acre basis. So once and it depends upon the objective of the landowner. If they want to sell the timber, or if they wanted to only for the recreational or the aesthetic, based on that they are doing different forest management activities. Right.
Do trees retain the carbon throughout their entire life cycle?
Yes, exactly.
Until we
not
burn them.
only their life cycle.
Yes, after their
not only their life
their-
cycle, but
It's long.
after their life also.
Yeah.
For example, if you are making the furniture,
Yeah.
right? So it can sequester the carbon for maybe for 50 years, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
not
when we
only-
build with wood,
It's
we are
literally-
continuing
Yeah,
to
Yeah, it's
sequester
literally there until
carbon.
we either burn the
Burn,
wood
And
or
even
it
when we
rots.
put our paper
Yeah.
in a file and we hold on to it for 50
That's also
years,
storing carbon,
we are
yeah.
still storing
True.
Carbon. Yeah. And also the thing is that we are not emitting the carbon if we burn the tree.
Yeah.
It means that tree means so it's get the carbon from the atmosphere, right? It store the carbon, and if we burn and it release the carbon,
Yeah.
it means that there's a cycling, right? We are not emitting more carbon if we burn the tree, but if we burn fossil fuels, then it means that we are adding more carbon
Yeah.
in the atmosphere.
Because that was
So-
already stored and then we were
Yeah,
releasing it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
The wood is only the
You can't put it back
cycling
in the
that
gas.
carbon. So if we are using the wood, then we are not hampering for our atmosphere. But if you are using the other fossil fuels and the other coal, then yes, we are destroying our environment.
That is fascinating. I did not know that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, thank you all for being here and providing this opportunity. It's good to interact with you. Hope to meet you
It's been great.
next week. Yeah, this week, right?
Yeah.
This week,
Next week,
uh-huh.
yeah, this weekend. Yeah,
Be this Saturday, yeah.
yeah. That's
Well, we're going to talk about a couple more business things, and I know we need to get out of here. We are at.
I want to ask this Tim what.
It's already 5:40, but yeah.
oh, really? Sorry, I'm taking
Oh, not a problem. It's been great. Honestly, it's been worth it.
I'm going to
Okay.
do this. It's your right here. There we go.
That
Thank you
should
so
put us
much.
back with a live view on the cameras.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that was good to know. Thanks. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, just a couple of things because I know we're nearing the end, and wanted to. What do I want to talk about? All right.
Spring environmental.
Yes, thank you, May.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm back on track here. So there is a capstone presentation on May 4th. I'm not sure who can make it. There will also be available via Zoom for anyone who can't be in person. These are the environmental science students who did some tree projects for us here in the city. So they'll be sharing their findings with us. So I've included that information if y'all want to join us virtually. Also, of course, we know this weekend we have our event coming up, the tree climbing competition. Super excited about this. Hopefully it's going to be a great day for us.
I'll be there all day at the table at least. I don't know where else I might be needed, but I'll be there all
And
day.
we'll hopefully rotate. The intent is to have enough of us there to be able to power our table, speak with the community, but I also want us to have the opportunity to be engaged and involved with the folks who are here in town and learn more about the arborist and what they're doing. That's the whole intent, right? So these are the professionals. We posted it. They're the tree surgeons, maintenance, all that good stuff. So anyway, so we want to be able to interact with them as well. So please, if you've not signed up on the volunteer form, if you know that you can give some time, no matter how much, please fill that out and or just let me know.
Can they
just
still
so I
sign
know
up
what
for
to
lunch
expect.
at this point?
I believe it was.
No, that's through Natural
too-
State. So they're doing
oh.
something different, but
Oh, that's a
we
different thing.
have
Sorry.
folks
Yeah,
there
yeah.
without food. We will also provide for that as well.
I'll be bringing
We've
more,
already
yeah.
planned. We had a committee meeting, just chat about what we'll bring. So we'll have some snacks and
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that on hand. But we'll definitely
I forgot
provide
about
if
that
someone
part,
shows
yeah.
up to volunteer with us.
We are recommending that people bring a lawn chair.
Mhm.
Did we already say that?
That's okay. Well, it was in the
Lawn chair,
email,
folding
we
chair,
said.
something if you
Yeah,
have one.
and also the public if they're attending.
Oh, not a bad idea. Yeah.
We might want to post something about
So we
that to
do-
bring a
well-
lawn chair.
We'll have a couple of other posts that are going to go out. One will be the details with the map, again, kind of the details map and everything that they'll need for that day too. So, and we'll share anything that Natural State puts out this week too, because they've been doing lots of logistics and detailed information.
They gave us a thank you on their Facebook page too for sponsoring the
Oh, did they?
event.
I've not been
Yeah.
on there
Yeah.
today. Oh,
I started following their page
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, so I'm like, yeah, they give us a big thanks.
We've got several new followers on our page too. People are interested, so that's good. So getting the information out, we found that social media definitely works with the community, and so we like getting that feedback. So we do have that. So the event is from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Anyone who is going to be there in the beginning, if you can be there at 7:30, that would be fantastic. I don't think we need much more time than that. I did have us kind of planned for a Thursday night work night, just in case there are any lingering details that we might need to get together. I do need to get with you on how to get the tables and everything, but short of that, I'm feeling pretty good. We need to get into the storage room and get some tables and.
So I actually think we could get into the building on
Friday.
but you can't get into our parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh, 'cause it's
We can get on
it's
Faulkner though. Could we
But you
access it through
can
Faulkner?
Faulkner, yeah. But then we have to carry the tables all around.
Yeah,
It
It might be
Thursday's
easier to
probably
go
a good
outside
idea.
if it outside and
Either way, I'm good with Thursday. I
We'll
mean,
get it
if you're
figured
there
out.
on Thursday, you
Thursday
tell me
might be
what day
easier.
works for
Thursday
you.
would be
But I
easier.
haven't planned in a spot to stow everything at my house until then, so they'll be inside.
And I'm good for Thursday too, so yeah.
Awesome, good, because that'll be any last minute details, kind of pulling things together. Otherwise, it's really going to be pretty low key for us, because again, this is not about us, this is about the trees and arborists. So we will have a tree board informational table there for us. We'll have urban tree benefits there. We're going to have UCA geography to talk about the history of trees, tree rings, dating, things like that. The naturalist from Hendricks should be there. I've not gotten a follow-up confirmation, but they were planned to be there. But as far as that, that's really all we're going to do for the day. Krista will be leading the tree ID walk with the community. We will have kind of self-led activities. Mother's Day's coming up. We're going to have some leaf tree rubbings and things. Maybe we can do Mother's Day cards or whatever, but I don't want to put too much work on us other than sharing the mission and the purpose of why we're there. In the email that I shared with you guys, we do have several publications that we'll have on our table, just benefits and information about the trees, how to care for. Other than that, it's really just sharing about the tree board, our mission, and what we're doing. So have all of those things available and ready. We'll have some free giveaways for the community. And then any questions about this weekend? Sorry, I'm going to pause. Anybody have questions about this weekend? Okay. All right.
I have
So
a statement.
do you have a statement?
So I just want to remind everyone in this committee that this is an official City of Conway board, committee, or commission. If you are at an event and have incidental conversations about topics about the tree board, then that is one consideration that would not be a violation of FOIA. If you have a meeting about any business on this committee, then you have to have it recorded.
Okay.
And it has to be publicly announced.
Okay.
Those are special session meetings. I believe those should be, I haven't read your bylaws, but those should be in your bylaws, and you would have to announce those to ensure that you follow all FOIA requirements.
Yes.
If it's a public meeting, a public event that you're all attending, there's incidental conversations that occur with that. Those are not applicable under FOIA requirements in most cases. But if you have an intent to meet to discuss a specific item of action, then that would be an item that would be fall under the state's FOIA laws. So we need to, staff will be bringing to the chair a presentation for the next board meeting about FOIA laws.
Oh, good. Okay, I was going to say we'll probably
Thank
have
you.
lots of questions. I know you mentioned that last time too. So, okay, perfect. We're glad we'll have that. Okay, so
Oh, did we ever end up getting any food trucks or anything? I'm guessing not, which is fine with me.
No, I've had them in and out. So right now, 2 potentials, and we are on the final. I mean, if
Yeah.
they're there, they're squealing in literally like on Saturday.
I'm not that worried. If we don't have any, that's fine.
Right, and there are plenty. The good news is that all the local folks are already busy and tied up at toad sucks. We
Yes,
have
so they'll
plenty
be
of
right down the
food
street.
close, but I have not let it go, and I'm afraid to say yes, but we're like,
If we have them or we don't,
we have
it's not gonna
agreements
be a
in
big deal.
hand, we have conversations and signed forms for Hendricks
Yeah,
going on. So
cool.
maybe. It's a firm maybe, just like it's been the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, I'm hopeful we're going to wind up with those. Let's see. We do have Kings, who's going to support the volunteer and competitors. Anyone who did time with the event has on the event t-shirt. They're going to offer 10% off on the 5th and the 6th. That's a bonus and a perk. Wonderful of them to support us in that way. So there's that. I did want to share, April Yoga was a huge hit. It was a beautiful day.
Good to hear.
Great
It's great to
session.
hear.
Yeah.
It's wonderful
It's been a sunny
turnout.
April. It's been a really nice April.
It really has.
We weren't sure we were going to be able to get on the ground that day. But,
Yeah,
you know,
it
location,
stormed the
location.
night before, and we thought it was
All
maybe
those
too
trees
muddy.
soaked up the
Mostly
water
a
for
sunny
us. So we could get
Great
on the
work,
ground.
right?
We were super grateful.
It was gorgeous, and we didn't even get wet or muddy.
Look, and we didn't even need our music because the trees were just perfect. So
There
I was
was
surprised y'all didn't order
birdsong.
yoga mats.
we look. Hey, they're too expensive. We're
Yeah, but we can't afford that. People can bring them if they want, but
But that's a good idea.
I
know, now I'm like,
Hey now,
They need branded ones
into
anyway.
the future.
Maybe next year it'll be yoga covers, yoga bags.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right. Yeah.
Tied to trees.
That's right. So, so May, we have our next yoga event. We did move that date from the weekend to the Thursday before. I'm not looking at my calendar, but it's up the 24th, 25th, I believe. So same time at 5:30, still in Cadron Settlement Park.
It's the 25th of May, Thursday.
Yes. And we do have Johanna Epps from Go Inside
She's gonna be
Yoga
great.
is going to lead our session.
It's gonna be so pretty and nice.
yeah. And we've found a location. It's the lower pavilion area. There's a beautiful spot. We may be able to get like close to the water and get close to
View of
sunset.
the water, I think,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah. So it'll be awesome. So do stay tuned for that. We'll start doing some marketing for that. Hopefully right after this weekend, we're going to get on that and do some
Yeah.
marketing for that. Yoga in June is still planned for the 24th. And we have some tentative conversations on yogis for that day as well. And then there's not really time now unless y'all want to, but the next thing for us would be to look at when we would like to plant in the fall. So we do have locations. I shared the link with you guys on that. There's 5 different potential locations that we can choose from that were already approved through Parks and Rec. And so I have funds through a nonprofit. So we've got the money and we've got potential locations. We need to determine a date and a location. So for sake of time, if we could come back in June and finalize that conversation so we can get it on the books, I would
Which
like to
item was
do
that?
that. Say one more time.
Which item was that?
Fall planting date and
Okay.
locations, yeah. And I will verify too, just to make sure, since Steve is truly retired this year, we have a new director, Parks and Rec, to make sure that we're all still good to go with those locations, but pretty sure we are. And then lastly, your thoughts on a July meeting. I know since you guys have started the board this year, we've been super busy through the early spring. And I found we do have the option if we don't have business and potentially there'll be lots of vacations and absences. So what are your thoughts on not having a July meeting, taking a break, coming back in August?
Yeah, it would technically be on July
July.
3rd.
Yeah.
Which everybody's gonna be gone.
Is that-
Everyone's
yeah.
gonna be
Close, it
gone.
would rotate to the next week, right?
Just procedurally, is it in your bylaws that you have a monthly meeting?
Alicia's actually the one who shared with us that we don't have to have a meeting every.
That's correct. You don't have to have one, but if it's in your bylaws that you have one, then it's best to make a motion to suspend the rules and cancel the July meeting. That would just be a simple,
No.
that way it's in your minutes. That
You want, should we?
Well,
Well, we can do that next month
Yeah,
too,
we can-
because
Yeah,
next
that's
month's
fine.
June.
That's totally
So we'll
fine
make
for you to do
I'll
that.
double check bylaws.
And I'll be
on
here
that.
next month.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. All right, so we'll look at which way we need to go about that, but I feel like everyone might feel a nice relief to.
Yeah.
July, okay.
It'd be hard for a lot of people to attend.
To attend, sure.
We'd have to do it the next week.
And if we're gonna have
If we're
any
gonna
kind of
do it.
break in the year, I think that's the moment, because then we come back in August and we're Arbor Day. So
Yeah.
whatever's gonna be happening for our plantings and then going into our Arbor Day event and finishing up the year. So, and we may even talk about December at the same time. We talked about potentially like not having a December meeting. So maybe we'll discuss both of those dates next month. So, is there any other business that anyone would like to discuss before we adjourn today? Sir?
One from staff.
Yes.
So I will be getting with Felicia and we will be talking over expenses, any type of reimbursements for boards and any approvals. So we'll probably have that discussion. She may be here at the next meeting.
That'd be great.
Don't
Quoting
give
you.
me a quote on that. She
No.
might yell at me for saying that. But we will definitely, at least at minimum, get together before that and pass on that any additional information. I do plan on being the presenter for the meeting. So if you could
Perfect.
add that to your agenda for the FOIA item.
FOIA and the
Yeah,
And
expenses.
it'll either be
Absolutely.
myself or a representative from the city attorney's office, probably me.
Okay.
So it'll be FOIA and expenses?
Expenses.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, okay.
The only thing I'll add is that the Faulkner County Museum had their sesquicentennial event a couple of weeks ago, and I threw in a few things from the tree board to go in the time capsule.
Did
So,
you? Oh,
yeah.
yay, look, I was like a Tree City flag, because we had extra.
I didn't do that
Then I
yet,
didn't
but-
realize it was like happening right when I was
I
suggesting.
think they're
the
still
Tree
I think
City
they're still
flag.
taking capsule for the capsule through October, but I have to double check that because I'm thinking about adding some more stuff. But I added some like the previous
We could
version.
put our
of this.
urban tree benefits
Yeah,
in there.
I
Wouldn't
did.
that be
Yeah.
cool
The
to see
previous
what it
version of
looks
this we
like?
had.
That would be an
No,
interesting.
I did.
This is
put
where
that
we
in.
stood on this,
That's awesome.
in this year.
Yeah.
The one we had from before, I put that in. It's going to go in the time capsule from the one we had before this one.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Anyway, unrelated but cool.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's nice. Mhm.
yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, and let me know, like, if we have other program, maybe in future, me and the other, maybe other faculty from our business center can share like some, some ideas or maybe some result from our research.
Mhm.
So we love to share with the community. Like we assume that we are not only conducting the research, right? We are also giving some benefit to the community as well. Like, so if we are not using the result of the research, then there is no value, right? So we wanted to share our result to the community in their own language, like, not the scientific way, but their language. So like so being a like forestry college, like, so we are doing more focusing on the forestry, but we are also doing other research on the wildlife, the other like survey, other different type of activities at UAM. So we are happy, like, more than happy to share our like, thought with the community. And personally me as well, like, I really enjoy, though like, my accent is not that much, but I love to interact with the people like, they're around the world, like,
Yeah, it's great.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It was a
All
pleasure.
right.
Are we good?
We'll do a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Excellent.
Second.
Come on, Logan. Great second here.